I went to my mother's funeral. I looked at the casket. I shed tears. But 10 years later, when I saw her at the supermarket, I almost had a heart attack. But the real shock came when the truth about why she abandoned us was revealed. Hello, everyone. I'm Emelia. I'm 55 years old, and the story I'm about to tell you carries the darkest secret of my life. For years, I didn't tell anyone, because I couldn't. Who would believe such a thing? Who would believe that a mother would abandon her own children this way? But know this. The real reason she abandoned us is so terrible you can't even imagine. But now I need to break my silence. Because this burden I carry inside is killing me a little more each day. Also, I recommend you watch this video to the end, because the ending of this video is worth everything. If you've got your coffee with you, let's begin. Everything started in March of 2003. I was 33 years old back then. We lived in a small town, in a modest house. My husband David, me, and our 2 children. My mother Mia lived just 5 blocks away from us. I would visit her every day. Every morning after breakfast, I would grab my bag and walk to my mother's house. She was my everything. My father had died long ago. My mother was my mother, my father, and my closest friend. I'll never forget that day. March 15th, 2003. Saturday morning. Normally, my mother would wake up early and drink her coffee in her kitchen. But that morning when I knocked on the door, no one answered. I went inside with my spare key. The house was very quiet. Such a silence that even the walls seemed to not be breathing. I went upstairs, walked toward the bedroom. My heart was beating fast, but I didn't know why yet. When I opened the door, I saw her. My mother was lying in her bed. Her eyes were closed. At first, I thought she was sleeping. I slowly approached. "Mom?" I said. No answer. I touched her shoulder. Her body was cold. At that moment, the world collapsed on me. I screamed. I ran downstairs, called the neighbors. They called the ambulance, but it was too late. My mother was dead. The doctor said heart attack. A sudden death. She didn't suffer. But I suffered a lot. A part of me was torn away that day. When I saw the casket at the funeral, that last hope inside me died too. I had thought maybe it was a mistake. Maybe she's sleeping. Maybe she'll wake up. But no, my mother had really died. We buried her. We had her name engraved on the headstone, Mia Hernandez, 1945 to 2003, beloved mother and grandmother. The days after that were hell. I couldn't leave the house. I just cried. David tried his best to support me, but no one could ease that pain. My children were small. They couldn't fully grasp the situation. My eldest son Carlos was 8 years old. My little daughter Elena was only 5. "Where's Grandma, Mom?" they would ask. "In heaven," I would say. "With the angels." Months passed. I slowly tried to hold on to life. I visited my mother's grave every week. I would bring flowers, sit next to her, and talk for hours. I would tell her everything. The children's situation, David's problems at work, the neighborhood gossip. As if she was still there, listening to me. This comforted me. 1 year passed. 2 years passed. 3 years passed. Life went on. The pain didn't decrease, but I got used to her absence. I learned to carry it inside. In the mornings, I would wake up, drink my coffee, and say, "Good morning, Mom," quietly. Before bed at night, I would say, "Good night, Mom." She continued to live with me in my heart. That year, an economic crisis hit the country. David's work decreased. It was time to cut expenses. I started being more careful with grocery shopping, too. I was counting every penny. I was following discounted products. I had learned from neighbors that the big supermarket on the other side of town had cheaper prices. One day I decided to go there. Yes, I'm pausing the story here, but the real events start here, and I recommend you listen to the end, because everything is astonishing. Continuing. That day was mid-October. The weather was rainy and gloomy. I got on the bus. After a long journey, I arrived at the supermarket. When I went inside, I was surprised. It really was very big. The aisles were long and wide. People were rushing here and there. I also took out my list and started shopping. When I came to the produce section, I stopped behind a cart. There was a woman in front of me. She was choosing tomatoes. It was a very normal moment. There was nothing there. But when the woman turned, at that moment time stopped. My heart started beating wildly. My breath caught. I couldn't believe my eyes. That woman was my mother. Yes, just as you heard. My mother who had died 5 years ago, whose funeral I attended, whom I buried. There in front of me, alive, breathing, choosing tomatoes. Her hair seemed a bit grayer, but it was her. Definitely her. Those eyes, that nose, that way of walking. Wouldn't a person recognize their own mother? My tongue was tied. I couldn't speak. I didn't know what to do. Was I dreaming? Was I hallucinating? Had I gone crazy? But no, she was real. She was there, 1 meter ahead of me, and she was alive. I tried to pull myself together. "Mom?" I whispered. No sound came from my throat. I said it louder. "Mom?" This time she heard. She turned toward me. Her face changed. First surprise, then fear, then... She recognized me. But do you know what she said? She said nothing. She just looked. Then she quickly turned and started walking. She was moving away. She was running from me. "Mom! Stop!" I shouted. People started looking at me, but I didn't care. I ran after her. I left my cart there, kept running. She was speeding up, I was speeding up. She reached the end of the aisle, turned left. I turned too, but she had disappeared. I looked around. She wasn't there. How could she disappear so fast? I searched the aisles. I was going from one aisle to another. Then I saw her. She was heading toward the register. But she wasn't alone. There were 2 children with her. A boy and a girl. The boy was maybe 7 or 8 years old. The girl was 5 or 6. My mother was saying something to them. The children were smiling, as if she was acting like their grandmother. I approached. This time I was more determined. "Mom!" I said in a harsh voice. She turned. There was panic on her face. "Please," she said in a low voice. "Not now, please." She was speaking English, but her accent was a bit different, as if she had been living somewhere else for years. "Not now," I said. My voice was trembling. "I've thought you were dead for 5 years. I went to your funeral. I buried you. And you're telling me not now?" The children were looking at us. They seemed scared. My mother bent down toward them. "Go on, wait for me at the ice cream section," she said. The children hesitated, but then left. My mother turned to me. There were tears in her eyes. "Emelia," she said, "please don't shout. I can explain. But not here. Explain." I said, "Should I laugh? Should I cry?" I didn't know. "What are you going to explain?" "How you pretended to be dead. Why you abandoned me. Or who those children are." My mother lowered her head. "All of it," she said quietly. "But not now. Tomorrow. I'll give you an address. You'll come. I'll explain everything. I promise." She took out a piece of paper from her bag. She wrote an address. "Tomorrow at 2 o'clock, she said. "Come alone, please." She gave me the paper and quickly moved away. She gathered the children and they left the market. I just stood there. My hands were trembling. I read the address on the paper. A neighborhood I didn't know. That night I couldn't sleep at all. I didn't tell David anything. How could I? Was I going to say I saw my dead mother at the supermarket today? He would think I'd gone crazy. I thought I'd gone crazy too. Maybe I really had. Maybe I'd lost my mind from grief. But no, that paper was in my hand. It was real. Everything was real. The next day at 2 o'clock, I would be at that address. And I would learn the answer to everything. But was I ready? Was I ready for what my mother was going to tell me? Was I ready for the reason behind 5 years of lies? I didn't know. But I had to go. I had to learn the answers. Otherwise, I would really go insane. When I woke up the next morning, my head was throbbing. I had only been able to sleep a few hours during the night. Every time my eyes closed, I saw my mother's face. Those bewildered looks, those fear-filled eyes. And those children. Who were they? Why were they with my mother? Why was my mother acting like their grandmother? When David was leaving for work, he asked me, "Are you okay?" "I'm fine," I said. I was lying. I wasn't fine. I wasn't fine at all. But what could I do? Could I tell the truth? No, I needed to learn it myself first. Then I would think about what to do. I sent the children to school. Carlos had been quiet lately. He was entering adolescence and had problems with his father. Elena was cheerful as always. "Mom, can I go to Maria's house after school today?" she asked. "Of course, sweetie," I said. I kissed her and sent her off. I didn't know that the things I would learn that day would affect our entire family. I left the house at 11. I was leaving early because finding the address might take time. I got on the bus and started a long journey. I was going to the other end of the city, to a neighborhood I didn't know at all. I looked out the window. The buildings were changing. Familiar streets were giving way to strange sights. It was as if I was going to another city. Half an hour later, I got off. The streets were wider here. There were newer buildings, parks, children's playgrounds. It was obviously a wealthy neighborhood. Was my mother living here? How could that be? Our neighborhood was very modest. But this place was completely different. I read the address on the paper again. After walking a few blocks, I found it. It was a 3-story, cream-colored, beautiful building. It had a garden. Flowers had been planted. I stood in front of the door. My hand was trembling. I reached to ring the bell but stopped for a moment. Should I do this? Maybe not knowing was better. Maybe no. Enough. I had believed lies for 5 years. Now I had to learn the truth. I pressed the bell. No one answered for a while. I was starting to think maybe she's not there when the door opened. My mother was in front of me. She was wearing a tracksuit. Her hair was up, no makeup. She looked exactly as she used to look at our house. "You came," she said quietly. "Of course I came," I said. My voice was cold. I went inside. The house was even more beautiful inside. A spacious living room, modern furniture, paintings on the walls. "Please sit," my mother said. I sat down. She sat across from me. Neither of us was speaking. The silence was heavy, suffocating. Finally, I couldn't stand it. "Explain," I said. "Explain to me how this happened. How did you fake your death? Why? Who are those children? What are you doing here?" Questions were pouring from my mouth like a flood. My mother took a deep breath. Tears started streaming from her eyes. "I don't know where to start," she said. "Start from the beginning," I said harshly. "Start from the beginning and don't skip a single thing. Otherwise, you'll never see my face again." My mother nodded. She took a tissue, wiped her eyes, and she began to tell, that March day, she said. "When you came, I really was lying in bed, but I wasn't dead. I was just sleeping. A deep sleep, because I had taken sleeping pills." She stopped. She looked at me. I had taken them on purpose, too many. Enough to die. My heart seemed to stop. "What?" I said. "Were you trying to commit suicide?" My mother nodded. "Yes, but I changed my mind at the last moment. I took the pills, I lay down, but then I regretted it. I tried to make myself vomit. I succeeded. But I was very weak. I went back to bed. I was going to sleep. I was going to rest a little. But you came. I came, I said. And I found you dead. But you weren't dead." My mother said yes. I was sleeping. The sleep was so deep that my breathing was very slow. When the doctor checked, he couldn't find a pulse. He thought I was dead. And I just stayed like that. I couldn't open my eyes because I realized at that moment that I could die. Her voice was trembling as she said these things. "I was unhappy for years, Emelia. There were things you didn't know. After your father's death, my life had turned into hell. There were debts you didn't know about. Your father gambled. He hid it from me. When he died, he only left me debt. I paid those debts for years. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell you either because you had your own problems. You had just married David. Carlos had just been born. I didn't want to be a burden to you. My tongue was tied. I didn't know any of this." My mother continued. "I worked for years. I did every job. Cleaning, dishwashing, elderly care. But it wasn't enough. The debts didn't end. I was receiving threats. I was scared. I couldn't sleep. I was dying inside every day. And finally, I couldn't stand it. I took the pills. I decided to die. Tears were flowing from my eyes. Why didn't you tell me? Why, I would have helped. We would have solved it somehow. My mother laughed. It was a bitter laugh. How would we have solved it, Emelia? David's salary was barely enough to support the household. My debts were tens of thousands of euros. No, I couldn't be a burden to you. Dying was better. But you didn't die? I said. No, my mother said. I didn't die. Because before the funeral, someone came, a man. I won't say his name because I still need to protect him. That man knew who my debt was to. And he made me an offer. Appear to be dead, disappear, start a new life. We'll erase your debts, he said. Who is that man? I asked. My mother shook her head. I can't say, but he was powerful. Very powerful. He prepared fake documents, a fake death report, a fake identity. Someone else was put in the casket. I don't know who. Maybe another woman's body. Maybe a body stolen from a hospital. I don't know, and I didn't learn. I was in shock. So I went to a stranger's funeral? My mother lowered her head. Yes, and I had already left by then. To another city. With a new identity. With a new life. Those children? I said. My voice was barely coming out. My mother hesitated. She said. They're my grandchildren. But not your children. Someone else's children. The world collapsed on me at that moment. What did you say? My mother swallowed. I have another daughter, Emelia. You didn't know, but before I married your father, I got pregnant. I was very young. My family forced me. I gave the child up for adoption. I searched for her for years but couldn't find her. Until I came here. When you came here, you found her, I said. My voice tone was flat, mechanical. I was speaking from shock. My mother nodded. Yes, I learned her name. Bella, a beautiful woman. Married, has 2 children. Those are the children from yesterday. Diego and Sophia, my other grandchildren. Other grandchildren, I repeated. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. What about us? What about Carlos and Elena? Aren't they your real grandchildren? Why did you abandon them? Why did you abandon me? My mother started crying. She was sobbing. Forgive me, she said. Forgive me, Emelia. I'm a weak woman. A cowardly woman. I couldn't do it. I couldn't contact you because I knew. I knew that if we talked once, if we met once, everything would come out. And that man had warned me. If you return to your old life, we'll want your debts back. Not just from you, but from your daughter, too, he said. So, I said. My voice was rising. So you abandoned me to protect me? Nonsense, lies. All lies. I stood up. My mother stood up, too. Emelia, please, she said. Please understand. I had no other choice. Choice? I shouted. Choice? There's always a choice. But you chose the easy way. You chose to abandon us. 5 years. I cried for you for 5 years. I went to your grave every day. I talked to you every night. And you? You were living here happily with another family. My mother buried her face in her hands. She was crying. I was crying too. Go, I said. Get out of my life. You died once for me. You're not my mother anymore. You're a stranger. A stranger I don't know. I walked toward the door. My mother called after me. Emelia, wait. Please. But I didn't stop. I opened the door, I went out. I ran down the stairs. When I got to the street, I couldn't breathe. My tears were blurring my eyes. I started walking. I didn't know where I was going. I just walked. Hours later, when I came to my senses, I was sitting in a park. Evening had come. My phone was ringing. David was calling. Where are you? He said anxiously. I haven't been able to reach you since noon. I'm coming, I said. I'm coming home now. When I got home, everyone was eating. I sat at the table. David was looking at me strangely. Carlos was on his phone. Elena was telling something, but I wasn't listening. My mind was on my mother, on the conversation with my mother, and on that other family, on that woman called Bella, on my sister I didn't know about. At night, I lay in bed but couldn't sleep. I was thinking, what should I do? Who should I tell? Or shouldn't I tell? Should I go to the police? But what would I say? My mother faked her death, got fake documents through someone, now she has another family? Who would believe me? And the children, Carlos and Elena. What would I tell them? Actually, your grandmother didn't die? She has other grandchildren she loves more than you? No, I couldn't do this to them. They had already suffered so much. They had lost their grandmother. If they learned now that she was alive but didn't care about them, they couldn't bear it. By morning, I had decided I would be silent. I wouldn't tell anyone. My mother was dead to me. She would stay dead. Whoever Bella was, however cute Diego and Sofia were, they weren't my family. My family was here. David, Carlos, Elena, they were real. The rest was a ghost to me. But I would live every day knowing my mother was alive, but unable to see her. Every day I would live thinking about the existence of that other family. This was a hell. But it was my hell, and I would live it alone. I wouldn't tell anyone. Days passed. Weeks passed. Months passed. I tried to live normally, but everything had changed. When I went to my mother's grave, I could no longer find peace. Because no one was there. It was just an empty stone, a false memory. But I still went. Because where else could I go? Months passed and I had become someone else. From the outside, everything seemed normal. I was running my household, taking care of my children, looking after my husband. But something inside me had broken. Something had died. When I smiled, my smile was fake. When I spoke, my words felt empty. It was as if a part of my soul had disappeared. David noticed this. One evening after dinner, he sat next to me. "Emelia," he said softly, "we need to talk." "About what?" I asked. But I knew what he was going to say. "You've changed," he said. "You've changed so much these past months. You're always distracted, always sad. Did something happen? Is there something you want to share with me?" What could I say? Should I tell the truth? No, I couldn't. "I'm just tired," I said. I don't know if he believed me, but he didn't ask any more questions. He held my hand. "I'm here," he said. "I'm always here for you. Don't forget." But David being there wasn't enough. Because my problem wasn't with David. My problem was with my mother. I thought about her every day. I thought about that other family every day. I wondered, what kind of woman was Bella? Was she happy? What were the children doing? How was my mother spending time with them? Was she reading them books? Like she used to read to me? Was she cooking for them? Like she used to cook for me? These thoughts were driving me crazy. I couldn't sleep at night. I was building scenarios in my head. Sometimes I would get angry. How could she do this? How could a mother abandon her own child like this? And sometimes I would get sad. Maybe she really had no other choice. Maybe she was trying to protect me. No, enough. I had to stop making excuses. Whatever happened, for whatever reason, my mother had made a choice. And I wasn't in that choice. Carlos wasn't, Elena wasn't, only that other family was. Bella, Diego, Sofia. One day, Carlos said he needed to draw a family tree for a school project. "Mom," he said, "can you give me information about Grandma Mia? What did she do for work? Where was she born? How many siblings did she have?" Each question stabbed into my heart like a knife. "We'll talk about it later," I said. "I'm very busy right now," but later never came. Carlos did that project another way. He researched on the internet, left blank the parts he didn't know. And I fought with myself every evening. Should I tell? Did I have the right to tell? But what could I say? "Son, your grandmother didn't actually die. She's just selfish enough not to love us." Elena was younger, but she also asked questions sometimes. "Mom, does my grandmother see me in heaven?" "Yes, sweetie, she does," I would say. "Is she happy with me?" "Very happy. She loves you very much." With each lie I told, I died a little more inside. But what could I do? The truth was too painful for them. This was a burden I had to carry, not theirs. In 2010, one day when I came home, I found an envelope in the mail. There was no name on it. I opened it curiously. Inside was a photograph. A family photograph. My mother was sitting in the middle. A young woman on her right, a man on her left. Behind them, two children. Diego and Sofia. They looked happy. They were smiling. A perfect family picture. I looked at the back of the photo. There was a note. It was my mother's handwriting. I ask for your forgiveness. I think about you every day. Please believe me. But this life is mine now. I wish you peace too. I would like you to meet Bella. She's a good girl. Just like you. Maybe one day? Mom, I tore the photograph. I tore it to pieces. I threw it in the trash. Then I sat down and cried for hours. How could she do this? How could she send me such a photograph? What did she expect? Was I going to say, "Oh, what a nice family you have, Mom, congratulations"? Or, "I wish I was there too"? That night, David came home late. He was tired from work. He found me sitting in the living room. "You're still awake?" he said in surprise. "I couldn't sleep," I said. He sat next to me. "Emelia," he said. "We really need to talk. This can't go on. Something is eating you from inside. I'm not blind. Please share it with me. Maybe I can help." I looked at him. David was a good man, a loyal husband, a good father. He deserved to know the truth. But could I tell him? Once I told him, there would be no going back. Everything would change. But maybe everything had already changed long ago. Maybe there was no point in hiding anymore. "My mother didn't die," I said. Even as the words came out of my mouth, it felt strange. David's face mixed with astonishment. What? What are you saying?" "Just what you heard," I said. "My mother didn't die. She's alive. She's living in another city, with another family." David's mouth hung open. He couldn't speak. I continued. I told everything. The encounter at the supermarket, the conversation the next day, the debts, that man, Bella, the children, the photograph, everything. As I spoke, I felt lighter. It was as if the poison inside me was flowing out. David didn't say anything for a long time. When he finally spoke, his voice was trembling. So this is what you've been carrying inside? All alone?" I nodded. I couldn't tell anyone. "How could I?" David hugged me. "Oh, Emelia," he said. "Oh, my darling. What you've been through," I cried in his arms. I cried for a long time. I shed the tears I had been accumulating for years. David stroked my hair, rubbed my back. "What are we going to do now?" he finally asked. "I don't know," I said. "I really don't know." "Maybe we should go to the police," David said. "Fake death certificate, identity fraud. These are crimes." "I know," I said. But she's still my mother. Should I send her to prison?" David shook his head. "She abandoned you, Emelia. She lied to you for years." "I know," I said again. "But she's still my mother. My hands are tied, David. Whatever I do is wrong." David took a deep breath. "What about the children? Are we going to tell them?" "No," I said decisively. "Never. They won't know. This will remain our secret." "Yours and mine," David agreed. From that day on, the two of us carried this secret. We didn't tell anyone. But I knew this secret would wear us down. It would damage our marriage, our family, because some secrets are too heavy. You can't carry them alone. Even two people can't carry them. Summer ended and schools opened. Carlos started high school. Elena was in middle school now. Both were growing up. They were moving away from me. This was normal. Children grow up. They become independent from their parents. But with each of their departures, I was becoming a little more alone. And in that loneliness, the only thing I thought about was my mother. Dear listeners, I apologize for interrupting the story, but please listen to what comes next with full attention because things are going to take a strange turn. With your permission, I'll continue. One day I couldn't stand it. I decided to go to that address again. I got on the bus and went. I waited in front of the building. Hours passed. Finally, my mother came out. Diego was with her. They were clearly going to school. Because the child had a backpack on his back. My mother was holding his hand. They were walking, talking, laughing. When I saw them like that, my heart ached. My mother used to walk with me like that too. She would hold my hand. She would talk to me. But now she was holding another child's hand. She was laughing with another child. I followed them. From a distance, unseen. They arrived at a school. My mother kissed the child, sent him to school. Then she turned and started walking home. I followed her too. I didn't know what I was doing. I just wanted to be near her. I wanted to see her, but then I stopped. What was I doing? Was I following my mother who abandoned me? This was madness. This was sickness. I turned back. I went home. That day I made a promise to myself. I wouldn't go there again. I wouldn't see her again. This had to end. It had to end completely. But making a promise is one thing, keeping it is another. A few weeks later, I found myself in that neighborhood again. This time I was more careful. I was watching from farther away. I started learning my mother's routine. Every morning at 8, she took Diego to school. In the afternoon at 3, she picked him up. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, she took Sophia to dance class. On Saturdays, she did grocery shopping. One Saturday, we met at the market again. This time, it wasn't by chance. It was deliberate. I knew she would be there. I knew I would see her. And I wanted to see her. I stood in the produce section. I started waiting. Then she came. Bella was with her this time. The two were shopping together. Seeing Bella up close was a strange feeling. She looked like me. Not much, but there was a faint similarity. Eye shape, nose structure. We came from the same genes after all. The same mother. We were sisters. But she didn't know it. She had never seen me. Maybe she didn't even know about my existence. My mother said something to her. Bella laughed. The two seemed very close. Mother and daughter. Just as it should be. Just like my mother and I used to be. But I wasn't in that picture anymore. Bella had taken my place. Anger rose inside me. I walked toward them. My mother saw me. Her face went white. "Emelia," she said in a low voice. Bella turned, looked at me. "Do you know her?" she asked my mother. My mother couldn't answer. I answered. "Yes," I said. "She knows. I'm her daughter. The daughter she abandoned." Bella's face mixed with astonishment. "What?" my mother intervened. "Emelia, please." "Not here." "No," I said. "Right here. Right now. Is this woman your mother?" Bella nodded. "Yes, but she's my mother too," I said. Or she was. She died years ago. Or I thought so. But actually she hadn't died. She had just abandoned me. Bella stepped backward. There was fear, astonishment, disbelief on her face. She turned to my mother. "Is this true?" My mother closed and opened her eyes. Tears were flowing down her cheeks. "Yes," she said quietly. "It's true." The shopping basket in Bella's hand fell to the ground. The contents scattered around. But no one cared. "You have another child?" Bella said. Her voice was trembling. All these years you lied to me?" My mother couldn't speak. I continued. "She also has 2 grandchildren. My children. Your niece and nephew, Carlos and Elena. For 5 years they've been bringing flowers to their grandmother's grave on the anniversary of her death. But it's an empty grave. Because their grandmother is here, living with you." Bella's face had turned bright red. I didn't know if it was from anger or sadness or both. She turned to my mother again. "I'm going home," she said in a cold voice. "And I never want to see you again, ever." She turned and left. She left running. My mother called after her. "Bella, wait!" But Bella didn't stop. She left. She disappeared into the crowd. My mother turned to me. There was anger on her face. "What did you do?" she said. "What did you do, Emelia? You ruined everything." "I ruined it?" I said. My voice was rising. "Me?" "You ruined it, Mom, you! You lied for years. To 2 families at once. Now you're losing both. This is your fault. Only yours?" My mother just stood there. Her hands were trembling. She opened her mouth, wanted to say something, but no words came out. People around us were starting to gather. The supermarket employees were watching curiously. But I didn't care. I had poured out everything I had been accumulating for years. And now I felt relieved. "Emelia," my mother finally said. Her voice was broken, trembling. Please listen to me. I was just trying to do the right thing." I laughed. It was a bitter laugh. The right thing? Was the right thing having your daughter think you were dead for years? Was the right thing lying to your grandchildren? My mother shook her head. Her hair was disheveled, her makeup was running. She looked very sad. I was trying to protect you, she said. Those men, those debt collectors, if they learned I was alive, they would ask you for the money. They could harm you. David, the children, excuses, I said. Always excuses. The truth is you ran away, Mom. Life got hard, you ran away. You started a new life. You found Bella, you were happy with her. And you forgot us. Carlos, Selena, me, you forgot all of us. No, my mother said. Her voice rose. The people around us flinched. I didn't forget any of you. I thought about you every day. I cried in my bed every night. Every morning when I woke up, you were the first ones on my mind. But what could I do? How could I go back? I was already dead. I was lying in a grave. How could I come back to life? You would have found a way, I said. My voice was calm now. All my anger was gone. If you really wanted to, you would have found a way. But you didn't want to, because you were happier here. You turned over a clean page. You made a new start. And I was the old page. Messy, complicated, difficult. Tears were streaming down my mother's face, but she wasn't speaking anymore, because she had nothing left to say. We had said everything already. Only silence remained. Heavy, painful silence. I'm leaving, I said, and I'm never going to see you again. This time for real. You're dead to me now, Mom. Completely dead. I turned and walked. My mother didn't call after me this time. She just stayed there. Collapsed, finished, destroyed. On my way home, my mind was in turmoil. What had I done? I had ruined Bella's life. I had broken the relationship between her and my mother. But wasn't I right? Didn't she have the right to know? Didn't she deserve to learn the truth? When David came home, he understood something had happened. What happened? He asked. I told him. Everything. The encounter at the market, my conversation with Bella, what I said to my mother's face. David shook his head. I don't know if you did good or bad, he said. But it's done now. There's no going back. That night I couldn't sleep again. I was thinking, what was Bella doing now? Had she told her children? Had she told her husband? Or was she keeping it inside? And my mother? What was my mother doing? Was she alone? Was she crying? The next day the phone rang. It was a number I didn't recognize. I answered. Hello? Emelia? It was a woman's voice. It didn't sound familiar. Yes, it's me. Who are you? Bella, she said. From yesterday? From the market. My heart started beating fast. Yes, I remember you. Bella took a deep breath. We need to talk. Face to face. Are you available today? I hesitated. What would I say to this woman? But I needed to talk. I'm available, I said. And we made an appointment to meet at a cafe. An hour later, we met at a cafe. It was a quiet, calm place. When I arrived, Bella was already there. She was sitting at a table waiting. I sat next to her. Neither of us spoke for a few minutes. Finally, she started. I couldn't sleep at all last night, she said. I thought and thought about what you told me, what my mother said. Everything. What my mother said. I said, so you talked to her? Bella nodded. Yes, she came to my door at midnight. We talked for hours. She told me everything. Everything from the beginning. And? I said, did you believe her? Bella shrugged. I don't know. I mean, everything is so complicated. But I know one thing. She's my mother. She had lost me, but she found me. She did a lot for me. We were together for years. We had good days and bad days, but she was always by my side. She wasn't by our side, I said. There was harshness in my voice. Bella looked at me. I know. And I'm very sorry about that. Really, but she's my mother too. And I love her. I think I have to forgive her. Forgive? I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She deceived you too. She didn't tell you she had another daughter. She hid that she had another life. But you're going to forgive her, is that it? Bella listened to my eyes carefully. Yes, because life is short, Emelia, very short. We don't have time to spend with anger and hatred. What our mother did was wrong. Very wrong. But she's human too. She made mistakes. She made bad choices. But she's still our mother. Your mother, maybe? I said. Not mine anymore. Bella nodded. I understand. And I respect that, but can I say something? Of course, I said. I'd like to get to know you, she said. You're my sister. We come from the same blood, maybe. Maybe we should know each other. For ourselves. I was surprised. This wasn't what I expected. I don't know, I said. Everything is so complicated right now. I know, Bella said. There's no rush. Think about it. Take your time. But I want you to know that I'm here. If you want to talk, if you want to meet... My door is open. She stood up. She left a business card on the table. My number is here. Call anytime you want. She left. I stayed there. I was looking at the business card. Bella Rivera, psychology consultant, it said. She was a psychologist. That was strange. Maybe that's why she was so understanding. Maybe that's why she could forgive our mother. When I got home, Carlos was home. He was listening to music in his room. I knocked on his door. Come in, he said. I went inside. He was lying on his bed looking at the ceiling. Is everything okay? I asked. Yes, he said. But his voice didn't sound like it. Are you sure? He turned and looked at me. Mom, can I ask you something? Of course, sweetie, ask. Carlos sat up. His face was serious. Do you ever miss Grandma? His question hit me in the chest. Of course I miss her, I said. Every day. Me too, Carlos said. Sometimes I see her in my dreams. As if she's still alive. We talk, we laugh. Then I wake up and remember the fact that she's dead. I sat next to him. I held his hand. I know, sweetie. I feel that way sometimes too. Carlos turned to me. There were tears in his eyes. I wish I had known her better. I was very young when she died. Now I want to ask so many things, but I can't. My heart was breaking. Should I tell him? Should I tell the truth? Should I say, actually, she's alive? She has another family? She doesn't think about you at all? No, I couldn't. She's always with you, Carlos, I said. In your heart, in your memories. And I'll tell you everything about her. Whatever you want. Okay? Carlos nodded. Okay, Mom, thank you. I hugged him. We held each other for a long time. At that moment, I knew I had made the right decision. Carlos wouldn't know. Elena wouldn't know either. Because they were innocent. They were pure. They didn't have to carry the complexity, the lies of the adult world. Weeks passed. I carried Bella's card in my bag, but I didn't call. I didn't know what I would say. But one day, suddenly, I picked up the phone. I dialed her number. Hello? She said. It's Emelia, I said. Shall we meet? Of course, whenever you want, she said. In 2 hours at the cafe where we first met, I said. Okay, she said. I'm on my way. And we met around noon. Our second meeting went easier. We talked. We told about our lives. She told me about her children and her husband. I told her about my own family. But we didn't talk about our mother. As if she was a person who wasn't between us. That day went well, and a week later we met again. This time our children came too. Diego, Sofia, Carlos, Elena. They met each other. They were cousins after all. At first they found it strange, but then they got used to it. Children always adapt easier. Who is this, Mom? Elena asked. A new friend of mine, I said. Bella. And these are her children. I was lying again. But this time it was a protective lie. A harmless lie. Elena didn't know that Bella was actually her aunt. Diego and Sofia didn't know that Carlos and Elena were their cousins. And maybe they would never know. Maybe some things should stay hidden. Months passed. Bella and I started meeting regularly. We built a friendship. It was a strange friendship. 2 daughters of the same mother, but independent from each other. We didn't talk about our mother at our meetings. She was seeing our mother, but I wasn't. A few months later, something happened. One day, Bella called me. Her voice was strange. Emelia, she said, I need to tell you something. What happened? I said, Our mother is sick. Seriously sick. Cancer. The world spun around me. What? Lung cancer, Bella said. Advanced stage. The doctors say she doesn't have much time. I stayed silent. I didn't know what I felt. Should I be sad? Should I be happy? Or should I feel nothing? She wants to see you, Bella said. One last time. Please, Emelia, before she dies, please. My head was spinning. I need to think, I said. How much time does she have? Maybe a few weeks? Maybe a few months? It's not certain. I hung up the phone. I sat down. I started thinking. Should I go? Should I see her one last time? Or should everything end like this? Should I forgive? Could I forgive? I asked David. It's your decision, he said. Whatever you decide, I'll support you. I didn't ask Carlos and Elena. They didn't know my mother was alive anyway. Now they wouldn't know about her death either. I thought for a week. Finally, I decided. I would go. I would see her one last time. But I wouldn't forgive. I would never forgive. I would just say goodbye. A final goodbye. I got up early in the morning and went to the hospital. The hospital was cold and silent. Bella met me at the hospital entrance. Thank you, she said. Thank you so much for coming. We walked to the room together and stopped in front of it. She's inside, she said. Are you ready? Was I ready? No, but I had to go in. I opened the door. I went inside. My mother was lying in bed. She had lost so much weight. Her hair had fallen out. Her eyes were sunken. But when she saw me, she came alive. Emelia, she said. Her voice was weak, raspy. You came. I went to the bedside. I sat down. I came, I said. My mother reached out her hand. I hesitated. Then I held it. Her hand was cold. Forgive me, she said. Please. Forgive me before I die. I shook my head. I don't forgive you, Mom. I can't forgive you. You hurt me so much, but... I stopped. Tears flowed from my eyes. But you're still my mother, and I love you. Despite everything. I still love you. My mother started crying. Thank you, she said. Thank you, Emelia. I love you so much. I always loved you. I never forgot. Carlos, Elena, I always thought about all of you. I know, Mom, I said. I know. I sat by her side for hours. We talked. We remembered the old days. She told me about my childhood. She told me about my father. Beautiful memories. Painful memories. Everything. Finally, she got tired. She fell asleep. And I left. A week later, Bella called. She died, she said. This morning, peacefully, thinking of you, I cried. I cried for a long time. I had lost my mother for the second time. But this time for real. This time for certain. There was no going back now. Her funeral wasn't grand. It was a small ceremony. Bella, her husband, her children, a few friends, and me. I didn't bring Carlos and Elena. I didn't tell them. It's a friend's funeral, I said. David came with me. He supported me, while the grave was being dug, I thought. This was my mother's second grave. The first grave was empty. But this time it was real. This time my mother was really there. This time she was really in the casket and dead. Bella was standing next to me. Thank you for making peace with her, she said. She died peacefully. Thanks to you, I nodded. I couldn't speak. I was just watching. I was watching the casket being lowered into the ground. And then it was over. Everything was over. Now 6 months have passed since my mother's death. Life goes on. Carlos is preparing for university exams. Elena is in high school. My relationship with David is better. The secret we shared seems to have brought us closer. I still see Bella. We're real friends now. Maybe one day we'll tell our children the truth. Maybe we never will. I don't know. Sometimes I go to my mother's first grave, the empty grave, and I talk to her. Were you comfortable, Mom? I say. Were you happy during those 10 years? Were you peaceful? Were you sorry? Of course no answer comes, but I feel as if she hears, as if she's there with me. Then I go to the second grave, the real grave. I leave flowers. I forgive you, Mom, I say. I finally forgive you, because carrying anger is so tiring. Holding grudges is so heavy. I'm letting it all go. Let it fly away. You find peace now too, but I still have questions inside. Sometimes I ask myself, why didn't you choose us, Mom? Didn't you love us enough? Or weren't we good enough for you? But she can't answer anymore. And I'll never learn the answers to these questions. Because my mother is gone. She took her secrets. She took the real reasons for her choices. She left me only memories. Painful memories. Sweet memories. Mixed, complicated, contradictory memories. But in the end, she was my mother. And whatever she did, however much pain she caused, I still love her. Maybe this is foolish, but I can't do it any other way. Because a mother's love is like that. Unconditional, illogical, and endless. And maybe one day, years from now, I'll tell Carlos and Elena everything. That their grandmother didn't actually die. That she had another family. That she abandoned them. And maybe they'll understand me too. Maybe they'll forgive too. Maybe, but not now. Now I'm just living. Happily with my family, and that's enough. And now a question for you. What would you do in my place? Would you forgive your mother? Please write in the comments. I read them all, and here my story ends. If you liked this story, you can subscribe to the channel and like the video. Everything for you. Stay with love. I'm Emelia. I love you all.